Come explore our world of coffee. DeLuna Coffee was founded in 2014 by Ed and Courtney Lemix alongside their son, Brett. The delicious DeLuna blends are a product of Ed's discerning palate for the finest coffee beans on the planet, and Brett's business acumen has them on the national radar for quality. Savor the simplicity of Graffiti Bridge, 100% Colombian beans roasted to a city roast for optimal flavor. Ed and Brett are both FSU alums and are extending a special offer to our listeners. Use the promo code WARCHANT15 for a 15% discount. Visit thelunacoffee.com and check out their Facebook and Instagram.
From Tally to Cali,
It's time
to wake up.
wake up, wake up. WarChant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
and this is Wake Up Warchant, fueled by DeLuna Coffee.
Coffee's for closers only.
Now here's WarChant.com's Aslan Hajavandi.
And Corey Clark.
Wake up! What's up, everybody? It is Wake Up Warchant, fueled by DeLuna Coffee. DeLunaCoffee.com. Come explore our world of coffee. I didn't give them the shout out from this past weekend, Corey, where I ordered whole beans because I'm getting really snobby about this stuff now, Corey, because you know me. If I'm going to do something, I'm going to pretend that I'm elite because I'm not elite, so I have to pretend to be elite. So I bought the whole beans, all right? Got this grinder. Put the beans in the grinder, freshly ground them with this like hand crank thing into this nice jar, put into my little pour over device. Being serious, I mean, this is, sometimes we have fun with these things. Man, I'm being absolutely sincere. It was the best cup of coffee that I've had. Not that I've explored the world, not that I've been to, the rainforests in South America and had their beans fresh off the tree, or coffee beans are on trees, I think, right? Or are they dug out of the ground? Do we know, Corey? Should I know?
I think they're dug out of the ground.
Okay.
I know pineapples come out of the ground.
All right.
Which is crazy, right? I didn't know that until I was on one of my many trips to Hawaii. We were on Shannon and I for the honeymoon. Sorry, Steph. Shannon and I for the honeymoon did this horse riding trip through these pineapple farms. Oh. And I thought we'd be looking up above to see all the pineapples, but no, they're coming out of the dirt.
Huh.
I felt gypped. I'm like, I thought we were going to be going through the woods, and we just went through on this dirt path, basically, with a bunch of pineapples by the horse's feet. My horse was named Lonnie Anderson, so that tells you how old. Number one, how long ago we got married. But even when we got married, this was 2005. Lonnie Anderson WKRP hadn't been on the air in 20 years. That's how old that horse was. And the other one was, I think Shanna had Tiger Woods. So yeah, they named all the horses after famous people, and I got Lonnie Anderson.
I tell you what, man, like 9-year-old Aslan had big time crushes on like Marla Maples and like Lonnie Anderson. I was like, man, Bert living it. Bert living it, walking it, talking it. What a dream.
Yeah, Marla Maples, Donald Trump's former wife.
Yeah, man, I dug Marla Maples big time.
Yeah,
big time. I liked. Yeah, big on the blondes. And I kind of came home and I'm like, hey, man, you score better with brunettes. I test better,
right. I understand
my Q score. I'm not scoring with anything these days. It's slim pickings. But anyhow, the 1559 coffee bean from DeLuna Coffee. Try it out. You will not be disappointed. I can almost guarantee you of it. WarChant.com remains your ultimate Seminole sports source. Our promo code is FSU Spring 2021. I think it's still going on right now. It might have expired, but if it's there and you're a first-time subscriber, you can use it. FSU Spring 2021. You'll get 50% off an annual membership and a $25 e-card to Garnet and Gold. We're going to do Renegade Express. We've got a lot of questions to get to. But first off, I guess, Corey, we did speak to Leonard Hamilton and MJ Walker on Wednesday afternoon. I'm assuming this is the last time we'll hear from them until after they play UNC Greensboro, or do we not know that? Or are they going to talk on Friday?
I don't think we know that. Okay. This one was kind of came out of nowhere.
Right. Yeah.
We got a heads up like it late in the morning. Hey, Leonard Hamilton, 2:30. So maybe we'll have one tomorrow or the next day, but that could be it. Who knows? It seemed kind of official because he had a March Madness backdrop behind him.
Yeah, man.
So maybe that was the last one.
So what's going on? Are they out of self-isolation now or whatever? Like, are they able to live and breathe and walk around the hotel and go shoot around and stuff?
Yes. Yeah, they went to practice. They had a couple, I think, light shoot-arounds. And then they said that on Wednesday they actually had a real practice. I didn't ask where they went. I assume they might have gone to the actual arena, to the field house, which is supposedly an awesome arena. I can't wait to see what that thing looks like.
So are they playing at Hinkle Fieldhouse on Saturday against Greensboro?
No, they play at the Bankers Life Fieldhouse, which is where the Pacers play.
Yeah, all right.
All the big the big arena in downtown Indianapolis. So they played there. They weren't lucky enough to get Hinkle, but yeah. So they can walk around. MJ said, we talked to MJ. He said it was kind of like an AAU tournament where you walk around the hotel and you see all the other teams. Now I have to assume they're all masked, but we also know they've all been tested multiple times. So, but yeah, I'm sure they're masked when they're walking around, but they are allowed to walk around a little bit in the hotel, and they aren't just quarantining in their room and having food dropped off outside the room. Like now they can meet as a team, practice, watch film, that kind of thing.
I was recording the calls so that we could put them up on our YouTube page. Also put them up on warchant.com. I only kind of stuck around for the first few minutes of Ham. He seemed light and jovial as usual. I don't know, did he start buckling down as the press conference went to minute 5, 10, 15? How does he seem loose and light? Does it seem like he's just getting ready to play a game in January, or was there a different urgency in his voice and a different tone, tenor, things of that nature?
No, he seemed loose. He seemed light. He seemed he certainly didn't seem tight or nervous. But it's also Wednesday when he was talking to us, so who knows what'll be on 20 minutes before tip, but. Yeah, he seemed, I asked him a little bit about Greensboro, about the kind of team they are, and he said, yeah, I think he said an astute observation. He said something like that. He complimented me, which I was a big fan of. I love those. About how many guys they play, and he said they play 11 guys, and they pick up 94 feet too. They like to play fast. They like to pressure. They like to play a lot of guys. So it is a lot like looking at, it's like them. You just got to hope that, Florida State is more talented and bigger. So you got to hope out of the two, if they're playing similar ways, the Florida State's way pays off and they win.
MJ, does he sound excited? Was it for the last rodeo? What were some of the themes or things that he was asked and talked about?
Yeah, he said that they had taken a day or two to get over the ACC tournament, which I'm sure wasn't hard. He seemed like he was in again, it's Wednesday. But he seemed like that, they had kind of moved on or flushed it. We'll see. And I do think, man, it's just such a different season. Like like we talked about a few days ago, you can make up for the disappointment in Greensboro with, a win over Greensboro. I mean, it really comes down to Greensboro, the city. Like, what does Florida State want to be known for when it comes to that city? But you can make up for the disappointment of the last 2 weekends by having a good weekend here. Like, if you get to the Sweet 16. Man, I think the season will be remembered, and you have a chance to still do something really special. So I think it sounds like, at least from Leonard and MJ's perspective, they have kind of gotten over the disappointment and are appreciating the opportunity that they're actually getting to play in this thing. MJ even said that. It was funny. He didn't thank the NCAA. He thanked March Madness, which I thought was funny. He's like, we thank March Madness for putting this on, but it's the truth, man. Like they're going above and beyond to make sure that all these teams get to play as many games as long as they keep winning. They basically rented out a city, and they put a lot of thought into this to make sure that it happens. And it's cool that it's happening. And I think they all appreciate it in the moment that they're there. It's probably not the easiest thing to be living the hotel life for, it could be weeks, but the fact that they get to do it, especially compared to where we were this time last year.
Can't wait, man. Again, they have to continue to wait. There are no playing games on Wednesday. The playing games have been pushed even further back into the calendar week. So hopefully, though, once it starts, it'll be a smooth sailing from then on. I guess there's going to be a little bit of a quicker turnaround between. So obviously, with them going, Thursday, Saturday, Friday, Sunday splits. They'll be doing that for the second weekend as well, but then Final Four weekend is still going to go off per usual, so that'll be a little bit more of a condensed turnaround if you make it to that far of the journey, of the bracket. So
yeah, I mean, but you're talking about a day or two, at most. But they start. Yeah, this one starts Friday, so it's the weird thing to me is going to be the Monday games, this Monday coming up, those games, because that'll be the second round. It's going to be weird to have second round games, I assume, on like Monday afternoon while people are working. Yeah, that's just weird to me because usually but I guess it's just the tail. It's like Thursday and Friday, but just to have second round games where in the afternoon will be a little bit odd. But other than that, it'll probably seem like business as normal, except for the crowds.
And Florida State will be one of those teams if they were to win against Greensboro. They will play on Monday.
Yeah.
So figure out, get your spreadsheets ready to pull up when the boss walks by. Although I don't know, is anybody? I mean, people are going back to the office, right? I drove by a local establishment, and I saw these tents. I'm like, what are people what's going on? And St. Patrick's Day, like they had their entrance blocked off. They had all those those tailgating tents you see, and this was like 3 p.m. in the afternoon, and there was like 20, 30 people outside in their parking lot milling about. So.
Yeah, I think I don't know if everybody's back in the office now necessarily, like state agencies. I don't know how many people are going to the office now. But, hey, man, I think in the next 6 weeks, we're all going to be going back to the office, buddy. You're going to be seeing me all the time from the Midtown offices.
Yeah, are we ever going to do the show in person again?
Yeah, man, I can't wait. It's been well over a year since we've done that. Really, probably since you got back from your trip.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was that's the last time I remember being in your house. Yeah. So I can't wait to do that again. Has anything changed?
Well, I probably won't be in this house if it's
that's
6
right.
weeks
You got to get
everything goes according to plan.
Man, that's going to be even better, man. All right.
That's so.
Hey, by the way, so before we get to Renegade Express,
yes.
I got an email that I thought you'd be interested in.
I got one too. You go first.
Is it from Nick Lucina?
Nope.
Okay, all right. This is from I apologize on the pronunciation. It might be Lucina. It's Lucena. But he says, "Man, I've been listening to you on Wake Up Warchant and Seminole Headlines for years. I can count on one hand how many times I've missed an episode. My wife will occasionally listen alongside me, and although she never says anything out loud, I know she was always waiting to hear something about her team. Today was the first time I've ever heard you talk about women's beach volleyball. (Parentheses, she's the head coach.)
Whoa.
And I can't wait to let her know that she made it to the mountaintop, and also that she better not blow it. Thanks for all your work, Nick."
Yeah.
So how about that? Awesome. That's awesome, right?
Hell yeah! Let's go.
Yeah. So yeah, he's married to Brooke Niles is the head coach. And obviously very good. They're always like top 3 or top 5 in the country. And you know what, Nick? And Nick, by the way, I just looked at her bio. And he's an FSU grad. He's a professional beach volleyball player on the AVP tour and an Olympian in the 2016 Olympics.
Look at him.
So look at us.
What
Don't look at
handsome
him.
Couple probably. Look at those.
Oh,
guys.
I can't even imagine. Yeah, you imagine them just walking down the beach.
Just
yeah, it is
obnoxious. Handsome. Gosh.
He's probably got a 18-pack. She plays. It's just ridiculous. But yeah, so not look at him. Look at us. We got famous people. Yeah. We got Olympians listening to our show.
Power brokers listen to us, people. We set the agenda. This show sets the agenda. So
anyway, on that note, though, it's time for the beach volleyball team to win a national championship. I know we got a ways to go. Still early in the season. Don't want to put any undue pressure on them, but it's time. And when that happens, we're going to have both of them on our show.
That's right.
When that happens, and it's going to happen. It's going to happen. We're going to have both of them on the show.
We'll do a show remote from the beach volleyball pit, like on the actual court. Have everybody out there like a luau, very beachy vibes in the middle of Tallahassee. We'll make it fun.
I remember when they got beach volleyball as a program. We talked about it on Headlines. I guess you can go watch practice, but how creepy. You know what I mean? Would
Absolutely.
they just let? Yeah. That's what we joked about. Could Ira just come out in his lawn chair and post up next to the 5 beach volleyball courts and just watch them? I mean, you'd think there'd be some sort of they'd frown upon that. But yeah, we definitely could go out there and do a remote if they win the national championship. In fact, that's our guarantee to every program on campus.
Yes.
If you win the national championship, we're coming to you.
That's right.
We're coming to you. By that time, whenever these things are competed and completed, we'll be able to hang around you. Maybe we'll still be wearing masks. I don't know, but you won't. We can do it without having to be on Zoom, and we're going to make it happen. Whether it's men's golf, softball, women's golf is number 2 in the country. Obviously, men's track is going to be right in the thick of it this year. We'll come out there to them. Yeah. Baseball, even maybe.
Let's go. Come on, meat. Keep beat the Canes. Get a weekend
that's
series.
right, man. Take care of all your rivals. Yeah.
I got an email from our friend Ralph. Aloha, Aslan. I looked on the webpage for the address to the office, but could not find it. No one can. It's some top secret stuff. Was wondering if I'm allowed to send you and Corey some snack-type foods we eat out here in the islands. Just want to share the aloha with y'all. If not, I plan to bring some stuff in August when I fly in for the season opener. Also, if you're serious about reading up on the JFK assassination, in 1993, a book called Case Closed was written, the most definitive work that I have found. Mahalo, Ralph. Our friend Ralph in Hawaii. So, do we want some snack-type foods? I don't want to inconvenience him and make him have to go to the post office and box stuff up and send it to the mainland. But I'll take it, as long as it's not Spam.
Yeah, I was going to say, the Spam doesn't count, right? Or, what's the stuff they have out there? It's like blue or purple. Koi? Is that something?
Yeah.
Or is that a fish?
That sounds right, yeah. That sounds right, yeah.
A koi. I'm thinking of koi, the koi
koi's
pond.
fish,
So
yeah, but
poi.
koi's right, yeah.
Yeah, poi, don't send us that either, man. Okay. And I'm not trying to dismiss the culture and the food out there. I have tried it. I just it did not agree with me. So if it's anything but poi and Spam, I'm all about it. All
right, very well. Let's get on the ponies, man. It's Renegade Express time. All these questions come from our valued subscribers on Warchant.com's Tribal Council. We begin with Noles MG4. Wake up! Good morning, my favorite podcast fam. Watching the last 3 games of this year's squad has made me feel a little meh, to put it at best. By this time, last year's team got here. We know who Patrick Williams was. I don't think we really know about Scottie Too Hottie yet. I guess that's his nickname, Scottie Too Hottie. Especially down this stretch of on and off. I hope they can get it together before Saturday and make a historic run. Changing gears to the pigskin, I believe with JT Money growing in this offense, I think it's Jordan Travis, I love the nicknames, it will only help the team and that quarterback room be better. Like always, thank you for all you do. It is greatly appreciated. Yeah, that's the thing, man. I feel like the die was cast with this team last year, and we all liked what we saw and knew. I think this team there's so much. I don't know. It's not unknown. I guess maybe just more inconsistency than what we've seen from the previous 2-3 teams that seem to be built to last in March. What's not lasting is the connection of Corey's super cool microphone into his computer. So I told him to unplug it. So unplug it, Corey. Just so the audio is going to change a little bit here, but it's still great nonetheless because it's coming from Corey.
I still sound great, right? I'm not like I'm in a drive-through. Am I?
I mean, maybe like a Chick-fil-A drive-through,
You know what, folks? You get what you pay for around here. You get what you pay for. Except you, Ed. You deserve better than this. We'll figure it out. But yeah, man. So this team isn't as good as last year's team. We know that. But that doesn't mean this year's team can't go as far as last year's team could have. It's about getting hot, playing well, in the matchups. Like, I can promise you the team with Jonathan Isaac on it in XRM was a more talented team than the one the year after. But the one the year after went to the Elite Eight, even though it had kind of an up and down regular season. So, matchups help. Playing well in the moment helps. So I don't know that we can take a whole lot out of what's happened the last 3 weekends and say, okay, they can only go this far. We know it's just a wide spectrum, right? They can lose Saturday or they can be in the Final Four in 2 weeks. That's the spectrum. But that's the spectrum that's probably the spectrum for 18 to 20 other teams.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I mean, other than like a 1 seed, because they wouldn't fall to that category. I wonder how many teams feel that way. But I don't think Alabama. I don't think Alabama fans feel like, hey, we could lose this game against Iona, or we can make it to the Final Four. I think they feel they're at least going to make it to the round of 32. But your point is taken. There probably is a dozen or so teams that have that crazy spectrum of just, hey, if we get hot, we're going to be here for 3 weeks in Indianapolis, or we might be home before Monday. So.
Yeah, I think there's I don't think the ones feel like they're going to lose their first games, 1s and 2s. But after that, it's 3s and 4s get upset all the time. Yeah. And I think anywhere from a 1 seed to a 5 seed, and maybe even an outlier in the 8 or 9 range, like Florida State a few years ago when they beat Xavier, who was the 1 seed. You can make a run. Like, you're good enough to make a run. Syracuse is good enough to make a run, and they're an 11. So that I think they even have a play-in game. So that's kind of the point. Is like, it all comes down to just not luck, but playing well in the moment. And I don't know how much bearing what Saturday night against Georgia Tech. I don't know how much bearing that will have on this team. To me, the only bearing it could have is a loss of confidence. If they don't play with confidence or they play scared, then that's where you wonder, like, oh no, here it goes again, that kind of thing. But I don't get the sense that this team is like that. Yeah. I don't think they're going to let one bad loss translate into another bad loss. They might. I'm not saying they won't. I'm not saying they're going to win 100%. I'm just saying that I don't think that's going to weigh them down. But yeah, man, if they shoot well and, MJ doesn't turn it over 45 times, they have a good chance of making a nice run. But again, I don't want to be all not willy-nilly, sentimental. But like I am really just, it is cool that they're just playing, that we're talking about a matchup in an NCAA tournament.
Yep,
that's cool to me, man. This to me is my favorite event of the year. Mm-hmm. It's not going to be the same because it's all in one location and there's not going to be a ton of fans there. And even like just now, I'm looking on Twitter and Oklahoma just had their second leading scorer test positive, so he's out. So like it's, Georgia Tech had a kid test positive. Kansas has a kid that's not going to play. You've got a lot of things, a lot of obstacles. So it's not a real NCAA tournament, but still, it's certainly better than nothing. And it's just exciting that your team, assuming you're a Florida State fan listening to this, has a chance to make a run and play in what is, I think, the best single sporting event we have in this country.
Absolutely, man. When I was in Mississippi, football's king, especially with the high school coaches that I would hang out with and talk to. And, one of them was so entrenched in Mississippi high school football, but he even said it himself. He's just like, man, I'll tell you what, Aslan. He's like, that Thursday, Friday, the tournament, best 2 days of sports the entire year, every year. I missed it, man. We all missed it. Can't wait for it to be back.
It's awesome, yeah. And the one thing you're going to miss is there will be upsets, but you're not going to have that same energy from the crowd when they're watching like a 2 knock off a 15. I've been in arenas when that's happening, and it's incredible. Like people that don't care, they don't have a rooting interest. Yeah. Like I'd be in the Omni watching, who did we watch? We watched Arizona lose to like East Tennessee State in like 1990. Arizona was a 2 seed. I didn't know anything about East Tennessee State other than at that time, apparently the great Jeff Cameron was going there. And they had a guy named Mr. Jennings, who was their Brandon. I can't remember his first name, but his nickname was Mr. He was Mr. Jennings, and he was awesome. And they beat Arizona, who was a 2 seed. In the whole last 10 minutes of the game, we're all standing up, and it's like it becomes a road game for Arizona. Yeah. And that's the stuff you kind of miss with this kind of crowd. But still, man, it's cool that we're here. Hopefully, knocking on wood, we watch a game on Saturday, and Florida State competes. It's cool, man. I just love this time of year.
Yeah, I was in Jacksonville in 15 when Georgia State, Ron Hunter fell out of his chair and they beat Baylor.
Oh, nice. I didn't know that was in Jacksonville.
Yeah, I think that was a 3-14.
Oh, that's an all-time great moment.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I was there for it. It was awesome. The whole place just went crazy. It was great. On the football thing with Jordan Travis, yeah, I think the reactionary thing right now is to think that he is ahead because that's kind of what Ira and Corey have kind of observed and shared with us, and I totally believe it's valid. And you even heard Mackenzie Milton talk about the fact that he feels good physically, is just getting this offense down pat. I mean, you even kind of compare the fact that Jordan Travis said he didn't feel comfortable at times last year. So just to be in this offense for your first year, coming off the injuries, trying to get acclimated to a new surrounding, I think the reactionary thing is, yeah, man, Jordan Travis is probably ahead of Mackenzie Milton right now, and if he can hold him off, everything's going to be that much better for it. Because if he can beat out Mackenzie Milton, it's still early, though, man. It's still early. But it is encouraging to know that Travis has come to play, that he's not rolling over, that he is competing, because that's a big thing. So I'm all for it, man. May the best man win. I think Mackenzie Milton's still going to be the starting quarterback when they play Notre Dame. I could be wrong. And if he's not the starting quarterback, then I'll have full faith in Jordan Travis, man. I really will. I don't think it's going to be one of those things where I'm like, yeah, man, he just never got over his injury and just couldn't pick up the offense, and Travis won by default. I think it's not going to be that Mackenzie Milton loses the job if Jordan Travis starts. I think Jordan Travis will have won the job.
Yeah, and the thing with Milton, man, I don't know that he's the kind of guy that's just going to, much like I used to talk about Travis when it came to judging his ability when he has a green jersey on and he can't be tackled. Yeah. Well, that eliminates 30%, probably 50% of the reason he could be a really good quarterback. It's because of those wheels. Like anytime somebody's near him, they blow the play dead. Well, in a real game, he's by that linebacker, and it's a 25-yard gain. I think with Milton, it's just something you're going to see over time. I think, again, I don't think he's looked – I don't know that I've said that I think Jordan Travis has looked any better than him in 11-on-11. But in 7-on-7, Travis is, to me, at least the 2 days we saw, completed more passes, hit bigger plays. But when you go back and watch the film, like when Dillingham's breaking it down and he's talking through it with Milton, and he's like, okay, what were you looking at here? And he goes, well, I saw the safety cheat over towards the strong side, so I went to the weak side, and I was going to throw it to whoever, Kentron, but he had slipped. And so, and I'm not saying that happened. I'm just saying we don't have any idea, just onlookers standing on a overhang watching practice, what the first read is and if Milton read it correctly. Because to me, that's the biggest thing, man, is reading it correctly and getting out of your hands fast. And if he's not being helped by his receivers because they can't get open or they're running the wrong routes or they're getting jammed at the line, or maybe he had a rep with a couple of walk-ons and Travis had Pokey and Keyshawn, it's just hard to – it's not apples to apples is all I'm saying. And I would not put a ton of stock, and I hope I wrote this the right way when I was doing those recaps after watching practice. I would not put a ton of stock into like completions and who looked the best in a certain drill, like a 3rd and 10 drill. He completed a couple passes. Well, they're playing with different players, and they're playing behind different lines. So, again, it's not apples to apples. I do think, too, that McKenzie Milton is probably going to win the job. And, again, though, if Jordan Travis wins the job, man, you might have an all-ACC quarterback on your hands. Like, if he's good enough to beat out McKenzie Milton, who by August will know the offense backward and forwards, and so he can beat him with his, with his throwing ability, and he's also got the running ability on top of it. Man, that's really good news. And we know my man has a hard time staying 100% healthy. What a great security blanket for either one of them.
Absolutely.
To know the other one's right behind.
Next question, NYC_Nole_2. Wake up. Can't believe it's been a year since COVID first hit. Thank you both for helping the rest of us keep some sense of sanity. 2 quick observations. Hoops. I'm not especially hopeful or dejected heading into the tournament. Wouldn't shock me at all if we caught fire and went on a tear to the Final Four. But as I think Corey has summarized, we could also make a weekend 1 exit if we don't solve the turnover issue. I'm at 50-50 for either happening. Yeah. Look at that. Even you looked ahead into the future and heard what you were saying too, Corey. Look at that.
I know. It's like I wrote this.
Football. I'm of the opinion a COVID 2020 football season, not the virus obviously, just the unusual season, could be a low-key gift to the Norvell staff. It provided them a full year to practice, weed out players who were not a fit, introduce their system to young talent, all while not having nearly as significant pressure to produce due to the bizarre nature of the schedule. Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, there's, people call it year 0 for a reason. Like, it didn't feel like a year 1 because of everything, just the nature of the season and the off season and everything else. So I don't know how much that's going to be held against Norvell. Like, if they come out this season and go 5-7, I don't know that Coburn is going to be looking and saying, well, there's no hope here, man. That's 2 straight losing seasons. Because I think you get the benefit of the doubt with a crazy season like that. You don't get the benefit of the doubt for being bad. You get the benefit of the doubt for going through something that no other coaching staff until last year had ever gone through anywhere. And you were a first-year coach going through that. So that's a tough one. But I don't know that Adam Fuller is going to be judged with the same benefit of the doubt. Like, you can understand why there were problems with the defense, with guys maybe not buying in or not being in the best shape when the season started and then guys opting out. But again, it's the way they looked. You can get a bunch of bad players to at least be in the right position, and they just get beat because they're not athletic enough. But when you got guys running wide open, or guys, like we've talked about repeatedly, guys being 8 yards deep in the end zone, letting a guy just catch a hitch right in front of him for a touchdown, that's the stuff that you don't want to see anymore. So I don't know, and that's the stuff that still lingers. I think that stuff does matter. But it can also be all overturned with a good season this year. And we won't forget it, or we'll forget it and be like, well, yeah, I guess Adam Fuller deserves the benefit of the doubt too. I just think, don't you think that Norvell has a much more wiggle room, a bigger window to get this thing right than his defensive coordinator does?
No, I don't think so, man, because I do think, like, you need to win. I think you win 8 games, you erase the stink off you from 2020. If they go 5-7 again, I think every preseason magazine going into 2022 is talking about Mike Norvell's on the hot seat. Like, he can, it's like a double or nothing year for him.
Oh, sure, but my point is he's not going to be fired with 3 games left in the season, like his predecessor was.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. Like, your logic is like, hey, man, like if you don't think this is the right guy for you, that being Adam Fuller, to fix the defense, like why continue to keep him on? I don't know if he would be a in-season, a termination. But yeah, I mean, if we see a lot of if we see a defense that's not coordinated, some 40 couple weeks in a row, 40 points being scored on the team again, then probably he does kind of get rid of him mid-season. But I don't know. I still think I'd be surprised. I still think he'd finish out the string with him. But who knows?
I think he'd. I'm not saying I think he would. I just think if they go 5-7 and they have a defense that's 92nd in the country. One of the two is
he's gone.
Fired,
Amfor's not coming back.
It's not
Absolutely.
Mike Norvell.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right, I'm with you.
But you're right. I also think that, we can judge it and say it shouldn't count. It was more like a fake season, a glorified scrimmage for 10 months or 10 weeks. But not really, because, again, like Aslan just said, I do think if they struggle again this year, going into 2022, there will be some questions that he has to answer. Now, if in the meantime, unlike Willie, if he's put together a star-studded, stellar recruiting class, he gets a little more wiggle room too.
Very good.
That's
point.
the thing about
Very
Willie, man. He did not have the cavalry wasn't coming when he got fired. He had some recruits, but it wasn't like he was knocking it out of the park. If this thing continues to roll like it looks like it could with the recruiting class, then that's going to buy Norvell some time too.
And just last thing I want to say, I mean, I get the whole concept of a year zero, but again, those were real practices in season. Those are real games they played. So that was, you can build off that. Obviously, you didn't get what you wanted out of it at the time, but those still were learning moments, teaching moments, and hopefully you flush a lot of that out, and we'll see the growth. Because, I won't hold it against if he comes back strong in 2021. But, if a lot of these things kind of linger, then it's like, all right, well, I'm looking at it like a double or nothing. Do really good this year, and we'll wipe the slate clean. And if you don't, well, no, I'm gonna definitely maybe even revisit 2020 a little bit more of a harsher light because now we've seen 2 full years out of you. NYC_Nole_2 also adds, my hometown originally is Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And he was not born there, but Leslie Nielsen lived in Fort Lauderdale before he passed. How cool would it have been to walk down Los Olas, and see him having a drink? Thanks.
I've always thought about Leslie Nielsen. For our younger listeners, he was in Airplane, and I showed Airplane to my son a couple weeks ago. In Naked Gun and those movies.
And I was
Naked
Gun? Is that what it's called, Naked Gun?
Sorry, he gets on to me all the time, too. Naked Gun. Nude Gun.
Did your dad say naked? Was your mom saying naked? Whose side of the family said
my
naked?
my dad's from Scranton, Pennsylvania. My mom's from Griffin, so I might have gotten it from her.
Okay.
But then I'm starting to think, why would my mom have ever said that word to me? I don't want to hear that from my mom in any context. So I don't know where I got it, honestly. But Naked Gun.
Yeah.
But before that, he was like a really serious actor.
Was he?
And I wonder if he just played those roles so well, but maybe he's not really that much fun of a guy, or he wasn't that much fun of a guy. You know what I mean? He did the deadpan, serious, never laughed, never cracked a smile in those movies. And I wonder if in real life he was more like that. I wonder if the movies made him look more fun than he actually is. But either way, he was great in them.
Yeah. We got Dave in Bardstown, Kentucky. Bourbon is your friend. How about a reverse jinx for the basketball team? He's got reverse jinx in quotation marks. Instead of a true jinx, like they are definitely getting to the Final Four, and then they lose in the first round, a reverse jinx functions in a similar yet opposite way. Quote, the basketball team peaked in January. Now they're on a downslide.
Yeah, that works perfect.
Okay.
Like I said, when they went to the Elite Eight, I wasn't expecting anything. It was 50-50 whether they're going to beat Missouri.
Yeah.
And then I certainly didn't think they'd beat Xavier.
Nope.
And then Gonzaga after that. So that team was not playing well going into the tournament. So yeah, man, sure, absolutely. I don't see how they can get past. Greensboro is just too tough.
They are, man.
UNC, I mean, they throw bodies at you, man. They come in waves. They have a kid averaging 20 a game. He's a steal guy. He led their conference in steals, and we all know how Florida State handles 6-foot guards with quick hands. So I don't see how Florida State keeps it close.
Yeah, might as well just pack a shirt.
Really, what you want is you just want to make it. You want UNC Greensboro to be in a game with 5 minutes to go. Just put some game pressure on them. Don't let them be in a blowout. That's what you're looking for.
Okay, well said. Number 2, possible war chant slogan: caffeinated and vaccinated. Okay. At least one half of the team is. Corey, responsible one. 3, do not name the FSU blend of DeLuna coffee Seminole fluid. All right. I don't think they will, Dave. Come on, Dave.
That's pretty funny, though. Seminoles.
He's I like Dave. Dave's in healthcare, but he's got this like side job joke writing thing that's pretty solid. We got Daryl, Thomasville, North Carolina. Captain D _63. It is great to be an FSU fan. Howdy, fellas. Hope you're doing well. Coming down the stretch, FSU has not looked good. We've turned the ball over far too many times, but it's my hope we got it out of our system and we are ready to play some ball, FSU style. My question, do you think this team has a 6-game run in them, or did the last 3 games tell us that we are not focused enough and that we don't play fundamental basketball and that we get caught out of position and not passing the ball crisp, we look sloppy at times? Personally, I think Scottie Barnes needs another year to sharpen his skills because his game needs some improving. I realize he probably won't come back. What do you guys think after watching him this year? Thanks, guys, for the content you all put on warchant.com. The work is amazing, and we appreciate it very much. Subscribe to warchant.com. Hit the thumbs up button in the right corner of your screen, and drink the Luna coffee or their hot chocolate. Go Noles. Daryl's the man. Thank you, Daryl.
Yeah, he is. He is. God bless him. I think no, Scottie. Yeah, they all could use. Patrick Williams could have used a year to get better, to become more of a scorer at this level. But he was drafted 4th. Devin Vassell could have. I mean, I do think. What's more beneficial to Devin Vassell? And this is a real honest question. I don't know the answer to it. Is it playing 15 minutes, 12 minutes a night in the NBA, or 31 minutes a night in the ACC? Like, what develops his game faster? I don't know. I tend to think it's probably the NBA because they're different sport, they're different games. But I can tell you this: his bank account looks a lot different, and Scottie Barnes' bank account's going to look a lot different whether he needs to go back to school or not. He'll be making Leonard Hamilton money, more than Leonard Hamilton money.
Oh yeah.
So again, it's easy to say, and I get it, and I understand that thought because it's true, and we all grew up. Yeah, Peter Warwick came back for his senior year. Sam Cassell played 4 years. So did Bob Sura. So did Grant Hill played 3 or 4. Christian Laettner played 4. All these, Shaq played 3. Like, Shaq would have been in the number 1 pick in the draft after his freshman year, but he still played 2 more years after that. That's how we all grew up. Like, that's what we're used to. And now we have to understand that it's just not, you have 6 men that go in the first round that leave early. So, yes, he probably could benefit from coming back for another year, improving his shot. And I don't want to jinx it, but my man has made 14 of his last 16 from the free throw line. Just looked that up the other day.
There goes a reverse jinx. Way to blow it. Way to blow it, Corey.
Yeah, that's going to hurt him late in that close game against Grove. They're going to be making that comeback.
There you go. Better.
But yeah, but overall with the basketball team in itself, I think I don't want to sound like a broken record, but it is what it is with this team. They're not consistent. They're not Baylor or Gonzaga where you have an idea what you're going to get. The good news is when you get their best, when you get them playing really well, they're just about as good as anyone in the country. And when they don't play well, they struggle. And if they turn the ball over 20 plus times again, I mean, at some point we just say, all right, well, y'all don't deserve to play any more basketball this year. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's a wrap. You've done it to yourselves. It's fine. But that's the end of this season. Because they lost that game themselves against Georgia Tech. They just lost it themselves. So hopefully they got that out of their system. And if they get beat, you just want them to get beat by a good team that plays well. You don't want them to get beat at playing their D minus game. If they get beat playing their B-A game, then cool, man. Good job, Michigan. You're just too good. But you want to get to that point where a team, where a team just might be better than you, not you lose to a lesser talented team.
Trying to pull it up, but you know how that goes whenever I try to pull up the schedule or something on my computer.
By the way, I care so much about this program, Aslan, that Brady was in the kitchen making all kinds of noise. It's like he waits till now to have to eat, knowing what I'm doing. Like, he walked past me, knowing what I'm doing, and he's opening fridges and banging drawers. So he wanted to get some chips because we had Mexican last night, and I made him go in the garage to eat them.
It's hot up there. It's hot in Tallahassee. I'm sure.
No, it's like 50 degrees up here. He's fine.
Right.
He's
Good
fine.
All right.
But yeah, he's in the garage eating chips.
Well, so Florida State was 2-3 in their last 5 games going into the tournament in 2018, which is the year they made it to the Elite Eight.
And I think one of those wins was an overtime win over not a great Boston College team, I want to say.
Can't confirm that. Can't see the result or how long it went. But, yeah, they beat Boston College 86-75 and then got bounced in the first game of the ACC tournament. So who knows really how – and they lost to NC State by 20 points in the midst of that 5-game stretch there. So I'm as guilty of it as anybody, looking at just how poorly they've played coming down the stretch. But kind of an apples-apples comparison. I mean, they did not play all that well down that stretch going to that season as a 9 seed, and look where they went. And a lot of those guys, like Trent, I mean, he was still a little bit unproven. Terrence Mann wasn't what Terrence Mann became. Actually, no, Terrence Mann was the dude. But, yeah, so let's not get maybe too down on everything. Things can change. The term, now it all matters. Win or go home. They'll be playing different urgency. I do think they're capable of playing 6 games.
I've always thought, I don't know why I always remembered that Boston College game as being a overtime game. It wasn't, but they were down by like 9 points in the second half. And then they played Louisville in the first round, and Louisville was up by like 20 on them, or 25 on them. They really did limp into the tournament. And so I just don't know how much momentum matters, because the best they've ever played going into the ACC tournament was clearly in 2012 when they beat Duke and then North Carolina, loaded with NBA players, to win. Those two teams were loaded with NBA players to win the ACC championship. And then their first round game, they struggle to beat St. Bonaventure, and then they lose the next game to Cincinnati. Yeah. Like they were down the whole game to St. Bonaventure. They came out terribly. So I just don't know that it matters. I just really don't. I don't think you can pinpoint and say, okay, this team's playing really, really well, so watch out for them. Or this team's playing inconsistently, so look up for an upset. It's how you play in the moment, man.
Do you know what St. Bonaventure's mascot is? Or their nickname?
Are they the Bonnies?
Or the Bonnies.
Or is that just, yeah.
The Bonnies. You know what they were before that?
No.
Not the Indians, but the Brown Indians.
Oh, no.
I looked that up the other day. I'm like, there can't be the St. Bonaventure Bonnies. And sure enough, they were at one point.
What would even be, that's not the name of a tribe. What would be the backstory of calling them the Brown Indians?
I don't know, but there was no good way to segue out of it, so I was just going to make it fun and go right to making some bets on mybookie.ag. All right, here we go, Corey. This is and again, have fun with this. This is all for entertainment purposes. I'm probably going to make this bet, though, because the more I look at it, I like it, and I really like the payout on this. And I'll also give you, I'll give everybody the total payout right now. So Florida State right now, as we sit here, is a 3,300 plus 3,300 to win it all. So I think that means if you put like $100 down, you'd win like $3,300.
There you go. You said it perfectly, Aslan. Good work.
That's really good, everybody. But how about this?
That seems like a good value.
That's really good value. I think this is good value too. Here we're going Cal Santa Barbara, straight up over Creighton. Creighton's broken. You don't know why. I mean, yeah, their coach.
Google it.
Yeah. I got Oregon. I think they'll cover 5.5 against VCU. I got Colorado. I think they'll be able to cover 5 against Georgetown, and that's not the 5-12 I'm on. And I think Wisconsin's going to beat North Carolina. You put $5 on those 4 games, you can win $127. Just put $5 down. Have some fun. Maybe. You don't have to do it. You don't have to do it. But if you want to have some fun, go to mybookie.ag. They will match your deposit with the promo code WARCHANT. So put the promo code WARCHANT. If you put $100 in, you'll have $200 to play with while you make your picks. So, and if not, man, maybe put a couple dollars down on Florida State winning it all. $3,300, man. That's not bad at all. Would you do that, Corey? You put $5 on that, you'd win $165. You don't have to worry about all those.
No, man, I'd put like $10,000 on it. What would I win if I put $10,000 on it? Is that like $3 million? Am I doing that math right?
$330,000. So your 10 grand would be $330,000.
Well, that's only 33 to 1 then. I thought they were 330 to 1.
It says plus 3,300.
Oh yeah, you're right. So it's 33. Yeah, see, I get it. Hey guys, we're learning with you. We're gonna get through this together, and we're all gonna get rich. So yeah, I put 10,000 on it. That's an easy 330. And here's the thing. So let's say I put 10,000 on them. They make it to the championship game. I'm in a spot where I can win $330,000 if they beat whoever, Baylor. Well, so I got $330,000 on the line. So you know what I do?
Hedge.
is I go and I get all my money together. I collect it all, sell some things off, sell Brady's life insurance, sell Brady's college fund, and I put $160,000 on Baylor to win. That way, I'm covering my bet. I'm hedging my bet.
Yeah.
So I'm guaranteed to win $160,000.
That's why Corey Clark's thriving. I'm just trying to be.
Yep. That's how you get rich, folks, by hedging bets.
Eskimo Randy, love the show. Thank you guys for the great content, and Corey for representing Gwinnett County so well. Here's a question.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Here's a question. You get to add one former Leonard Hamilton era player to get this team to the Final Four. Who do you pick? I like this because I've been meaning to bring this up. It may be recency bias, but I think Trent Forrest is exactly what this team is missing. We need a calming, consistent presence to handle the ball and find a way to score when the going gets tough. Who's your pick? That's a really good one. You know who we have not mentioned in all these kind of, hey, if you could go back to, 2005 or, when Ham took over the last 10 years, we haven't brought up Chris Singleton once. You know that? But I don't know. Is he? I mean, all I'm bringing that up is because I remember him being like a lottery pick. Is the game nowadays? Is he kind of like a man without an island in 2021 collegiate basketball? We never bring him up.
No, I think he shot some threes. He hit a big three, actually in the Sweet 16 game that forced overtime in San Antonio. Whenever it was 10 years ago. Good grief, that was 10 years ago.
We're getting old. Brother.
I can't believe that. I remember also the best part about that. Well, I'm not going to say that. That's for another. I'll be in for another show. Chris Singleton. You got a 6'9" guy that can guard every position and rebound and block shots. I think he would thrive in this era because he could also shoot. He could shoot well enough that you couldn't just leave him alone.
Yeah.
And he'd be the best defensive player on the team. But then I guess him and Raekwon play together. Yeah, there's a lot of good answers, man. Trent's a really good answer. I just think with Trent though, I that takes the ball out of Scottie's hands, and I do like the ball. I like him being the point guard, and I just think if you had Scottie as the 1 and Vassell as the 2, Vassell, man, with Barnes getting in the paint and then kicking it out to Vassell, and Vassell's a guy that can go. You can't block a shot. He can go get you buckets. That's why I thought they had such a good chance last year, because they had an absolute guy when it mattered could go get you buckets. It was a shot maker. And what's funny, I was thinking about this today, like, MJ Walker was what, the 4th best player on that team last year? Right? Trent, Devin, Patrick, at least 4th.
Yeah.
Raekwon sometimes had moments where MJ might have been the 5th best player. When your 4th best player is MJ Walker, that's a loaded team. Especially when he's healthy and shooting. And so and right now you'd say MJ's probably one of the leading scorer anyway. Last year he was their 4th leading scorer. That's just such a good team. But yeah, I don't know, man. Vassell would be my guy. Patrick Williams, you couldn't go wrong with him because he'd get you some follow dunks and he can guard every position.
I like Vassell.
That's tough, man.
I think Vassell. I don't earmuffs Trent, but yeah, I would probably say Devin. You're right.
What about Beasley?
Seriously, I didn't see that coming. My gosh, a guy scores 20. He's averaging over 20 a game, isn't he right now?
He is an incredible shooter. And I think, again, as much as they shoot threes, man, what a role he could have on this team. And he's a guy that could go get you 25.
Yeah.
He'd be somebody too. Now, he hadn't had the best year off the field, off the court.
Oh, hey, come on.
But Leonard would keep him in line. Leonard doesn't have stuff like that happen in his program. So, but Beasley's one to think about too.
Gator 188. It's Gator Kirk. It's Virginia Beach, Virginia. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Hope you fine gentlemen are doing well. What would be a success for the basketball team in the tourney based on how they've played recently? Question mark. I didn't ask that in a very questioning tone. Only reaching the Sweet 16 would be disappointing, in my opinion. Well, I mean, that's what, 48 hours ago, 72 hours ago, a week ago, my thought, seeing them kind of slump out of the ACC tournament, not a whole week ago, maybe 5 days ago or whatever. I'm just like, they'll make it out the first weekend, but I don't think they'll make it past the Sweet 16. But who knows? It could be LSU. It could be Michigan. Maybe there's an even bigger upset on that side. Again, Michigan's without one of their best players, maybe their best player. it's I don't know. I understand that this place, this program's reaching greater, bigger heights. I don't think I could ever really be that disappointed with a Sweet 16 appearance, man. Making it out of the first weekend just gives you a whole other, lease of life because you're like, all right, here we go, a whole nother weekend. And just simply the fact that, I know they smoked Virginia, but I mean, that was like the high watermark of the season was the way they handled Virginia in Tallahassee. But there were so many games that were played before that, after that kind of gave you maybe a better understanding of where they are, I think. I guess when you're a 4 seed, you expect to go further, but I wouldn't call it disappointing. But I'm sure a lot of people disagree with me. Do you, Corey?
No, I think if you get to the Sweet 16, you can't unless you're Gonzaga. I don't know that you can view it as a disappointment. I don't know what other programs out there would be like, man, we only got to the Sweet 16 for this particular season. And I think that's where Florida State is now, man. Like, I think we're past the point where you're just happy to be in the tournament. Like, now you got to do something with it, especially when you had the tournament ripped away from you last year. Mm-hmm. You want to make a nice run to give credence to the season that you are a good program. But you'd be disappointed if they lost in the first weekend. But I don't know how many of us are expecting this team to win a national championship. So I think at that point it's almost semantics. Like, does it Sweet 16, Elite 8, second round? Once you get past the second round, I don't think anything after that can be a disappointment, unless, and I'll knock on wood here, you have a 21-point lead in the Elite 8 game and blow it. Like, then you're crushed.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think you get past the first weekend where now you have, you got to win 2 games. You put yourself in position to win 2 games to get to the Final Four. Then whatever happens. It's been a success. You've again established yourself as one of the prominent programs in the country. But I also hesitate a little bit on judging an entire body of work by one weekend.
Yeah.
It's just hard to do that. It's hard to do that in sports, period. But basketball again, what if they come out and hit 17 threes, UNC Greensboro? Yeah. They've only shot over 40% from 3 4 times all season. But what if they go 17 of 30? I mean, is that, sometimes that just happens. That's basketball. I don't know that we should say that it was an utter failure for the Florida State program not to win that game or not to reach the Sweet 16. It'll just be disappointing. Which I think was Gator Kirk's question, like what would be a disappointment? I think that's what yeah. So I don't even know if I don't think I'm arguing with you, Gator Kirk. I'm agreeing with you.
I would say if it goes chalk, you're playing the number 1 seed in the Sweet 16. And if you lose to them, I mean, I guess disappointing is a fair word, but I mean, you can't be upset. I mean, they're the number 1 seed.
Again, you could be. It also comes back to, again, I say this all the time, but you could be upset. Like, I don't think anybody's upset that they lost. I mean, everybody's upset they lost to Georgia Tech, but there's no shame in that. It's the 25 turnovers. So if you play Michigan and you're playing them well, but you turn it over 9 times in the final 4 minutes, or you have 22 turnovers for the game, and that's why you lose, that's frustrating. That's a reason to be disappointed. You can be happy that they're a program of significance now nationally, but you can still want more, and then just feel like you let a chance at a Final Four slip away because you can't hold on to the ball. So if they lose again because of turnovers, I would definitely understand the frustration there.
Okay. Let's take, I think, maybe 2 more, and then we'll wrap. We'll have a show for you on Friday, maybe with some added basketball content. We'll see how it goes. XDQ004, which I wonder, like, what's your first and last name? Your first name, if those are your initials, like
Xavier?
Yeah, right, but then like a Q, like that, that's strong. Like initials like XQ. Yeah. 2 questions this week. Wake up! Question number 1. Coach Mike Norvell allows you guys to pick the starting defense for the Notre Dame game. Who is your starting 11 as of the time of you reading this? And does it change prior to kickoff, assuming no injuries or COVID? Well, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot that's going to happen between now and then where guys might come up and down on the stock report here. But let's go for it. Jermaine Johnson we can agree with, right?
We're doing defense?
Yeah. Starting 11.
Yeah, Jermaine Johnson, Cooper.
Yep. Love it,
Keir
Briggs?
Thomas.
Or do you want to put Keir
No,
Thomas? Okay.
Keir Thomas and Briggs on the other side.
Okay. All right,
what about you? You agree with that?
Yeah, I'm cool with that. So Keir Thomas and Coop on the inside, Briggs and Jermaine Johnson on the outside?
Yeah, and then I think Lovett is a guy that, they have maybe a 3-man rotation.
Okay.
A heavy 3-man rotation in the middle.
Okay, let's go 4-2-5. Then with Emmett and Amari, linebacker?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
5 DBs, I will say Brandon Moore,
Okay.
Jarian Jones, Renardo Green. Who am I? There's somebody I feel that's like staring me in the face I should know that I'm not using right now.
Jamie Robinson.
Yes.
And what about Travis J? He had another interception on Tuesday.
Yeah, I need a safety. And if he's healthy, yeah, I think Renardo Green, Travis J, those are two pretty – I don't know if they're too similar, though, although Travis J's got a little more dynamic ability to him. But, yeah, I'll go with those 5 guys. And who are you going to – you take out Brandon Moore, put in Akeem Dent, or who's your 5?
Of course, dude. I put Akeem – I wish he could play all 11. I would say I think those are good. I was thinking more about Brownlee.
I know
but
you
yeah,
like him too. Yeah.
And I also like, man, again, he flashed. It was just a March, but Sidney Williams brings a little thump to him.
Okay.
But yeah, I think your 5 is good. I think you'll have 2 transfers at corner, older, experienced guys.
I didn't say Mako Dotson. Mako Dotson's been my guy.
He's around too. We don't get to see him though. He's like out of sight, out of mind. He's not practicing. So. Yeah, man. I mean, they got guys everywhere. That's the toughest one is the secondary. I do think Travis J will be starting in some capacity. That, to me, honestly, I would say Travis J and Jamie Robinson are the only 2 definite starters in the secondary, in my opinion, where you can write them in ink.
I might throw Renardo Green in there. I think they liked Renardo Green when he was healthy and available last year, but that's safe. Those 2, yeah. Okay. Question
Travis
number 2.
J has 4 interceptions already in the spring.
Yeah, all right, let's go. Create turnovers, man. Come on. Make plays. Make the movie end the way you want it to end. Finish the chapter, bind the book, whatever.
Yeah, that's a really good saying. Was that on a poster you had in your dorm room?
Question 2. Who wins a first-round game between last season's Florida State basketball team and the 92-93 team? Both teams have tons of talent and future pros. I will say the 92-93 team wins 100-99 on a Sam Cassell jumper at the buzzer. Who do you guys have?
I'll probably put way too much thought into this, but I would say last year's team. Obviously, it's a different era with the 3-point shooting and everything. But if you go watch, and I was a huge fan of those teams back then in the early 90s, they just did not play defense at all. Like Patrick, they just didn't. Like Trent Forrest he could have scored 38 points by just driving into the middle and throwing up floaters. And Charlie Ward would play deep, like he got a ton of steals, but they would just let guys shoot wide open threes. Like they didn't. It was crazy. And they only had 6 guys that they played a lot, 6 to 7. Their rotation was smaller, and I just think if you get Doug Edwards in foul trouble, they're in real trouble because Patrick Williams and the big guys, Balsa, Raekwon, would just feast in the perimeter. But yeah, man, it'd be a great game. I think we know Charlie Ward as being a really good defensive player, and he was in the NBA, and he had his moments at Florida State. But when you watch those games, he played almost like a free safety. Like he wouldn't even guard a guy. He would just look for opportunities to steal. Well, in this day and age, what are you just going to let Devin Vassell just set up from 20 feet and just shoot uncontested jumpers? That's automatic. Now they would have changed their game because it's a different way. But that's a really good question. Also, I think Sura might have done something crazy at the end of a close game.
Yeah.
They're up by 1, going in to put it up by 3, and he tries a through the legs dunk and throws it off the back rim and starts a fast break the other way, and Patrick Williams finishes. But I just think the depth and the size would probably be Florida State's biggest and defense, the way they played. Those are all 3 pretty big check marks in the 2019-20 teams.
See, I feel like we've almost kind of come full circle to a certain degree on this, talking about, how you finish the season going into the tournament. Do you base and judge the entire success of your season based on how you do in the tournament? Because otherwise, man, I'd say like the 18-19 team, like give me Cabangeli, give me Terrence Mann. Like I know that team did not go as far as the team prior that went to the Elite Eight, that lost to Michigan, the team that fell to Gonzaga in the Sweet 16. But that's Trent. That's pretty prime Trent.
Yeah.
I mean, his toes for him. But you had Trent on that team. You had Terrence Mann on that team. You had Cabangeli on that team. Vassell, obviously a little bit younger, not as developed. But I don't know. I like that. I like that team almost better than the team that went to the Elite Eight the year prior.
Yeah, I do too. That team was better. That's the weird thing. That team was better than the team that went to the Elite Eight. Significantly better if you go by regular season records. Yeah. And if I'll go to my grave thinking if they have Phil Kofer, and David Nichols, healthy and involved and in the rotation, that's a Final Four team. Nichols was a guy they desperately missed out there in California. He's a shot maker, a big shot maker and taker. So was Kofer. And if Kofer had been able to stay healthy that last year, Stan Jones told us, he was playing like a first-round pick before he got hurt in the preseason that year. So that team was loaded. I just think that team with Forrest, with Mann, those kind of guys, those glue guys that are also really good, that team deserved better than a Sweet 16. That was probably that team and then last year's team were the two best that Leonard's ever had. Regardless of postseason, what they did in March, those two teams are probably the best that Leonard's ever had.
We'll see soon enough. Hopefully, this team can do a little bit better.
It can get in the conversation.
Yeah,
with a few more wins. Get yourself in the conversation, guys.
Let's go. All right, we're gonna put a bookmark here. We'll end it. We got a couple more in the bottom of the mailbag that we'll get to on Friday's program. So do stay tuned for that. Stay connected to warchant.com for continuing coverage of FSU's run in the tournament. Corey, you're going to be getting on the road, Friday? So we still got you hanging out here in the lower, the southeast for a few more days, a few more hours?
Yeah. I'll be getting on the road Friday, heading to Indianapolis, and no idea when I'll come back.
All right, there we go. He is Corey. I am Aslan. Thanks for listening to Wake Up Warchant, fueled by DeLuna Coffee.